Bigamy is having one wife to many. Monogamy is the same. Moderation is a fatal thing. Nothing succeeds like excess. One's real life is so often the life that one does not lead. I am the only person in the world I should like to know thoroughly. It is better to have a permanent income than to be fascinating. Questions are never indiscreet. Answers sometimes are. Ridicule is the tribute paid to the genius by the mediocrities. Woman begins by resisting a man's advances and ends by blocking his retreat. One of the many lessons that one learns in prison is that things are what they are and will be what they will be. Selfishness is not living as one wishes to live. It is asking others to live as one wishes to live. I choose my friends for their good looks, my acquaintances for their good characters, and my enemies for their intellects. A man cannot be too careful in the choice of his enemies. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Sometimes the poor are praised for being thrifty, but to recommend thrift to the poor is both grotesque and insulting. It is like advising a man who is starving to eat less. Democracy means simply the bludgeoning of the people by the people for the people. Seriousness is the only refuge of the shallow. Man can believe the impossible, but man can never believe the improbable. All art is at once surface and symbol. Those who go beneath the surface do so at their peril. Those who read the symbol do so at their peril. It is the spectator, and not life, that art really mirrors. Diversity of opinion about a work of art shows that the work is new, complex, and vital. A little sincerity is a dangerous thing, and a great deal of it is absolutely fatal. Whenever people agree with me, I always feel I must be wrong. In judging of a beautiful statue, the aesthetic faculty is absolutely and completely gratified by the splendid curves of those marble lips that are dumb to our complaint, the noble modeling of those limbs that are powerless to help us. I sometimes think that God in creating man somewhat overestimated his ability. Hatred is blind, as well as love. An idea that is not dangerous is unworthy of being called an idea at all. Those whom the gods love grow young. Nothing can cure the soul but the senses, just as nothing can cure the senses but the soul. Biography lends to death a new terror. Fashion is a form of ugliness so intolerable that we have to alter it every 6 months. The difference between literature and journalism is that journalism is unreadable and literature is not read. If one cannot enjoy reading a book over and over again, there is no use in reading it at all. Nothing is so aggravating than calmness. A man can't be too careful in the choice of his enemies. The only thing to do with good advice is to pass it on. It is never of any use to oneself. Fathers should be neither seen nor heard. That is the only proper basis for family life. If one could only teach the English how to talk, and the Irish how to listen, society here would be quite civilized. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I am saying. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. Laughter is not at all a bad beginning for a friendship, and it is far the best ending for one. The critic has to educate the public. The artist has to educate the critic. How can a woman be expected to be happy with a man who insists on treating her as if she were a perfectly normal human being? there is no sin except stupidity. I put all my genius into my life. I put only my talent into my works. Our ambition should be to rule ourselves, the true kingdom for each one of us. And true progress is to know more, and be more, and to do more. I find it harder and harder every day to live up to my blue china. Everybody who is incapable of learning has taken to teaching. The books that the world calls immoral are books that show the world its own shame. Ordinary riches can be stolen. Real riches cannot. In your soul are infinitely precious things that cannot be taken from you. This suspense is terrible. I hope it will last. Every portrait that is painted with feeling is a portrait of the artist, not of the sitter. The man who can dominate a London dinner table can dominate the world. It is a very sad thing that nowadays there is so little useless information. It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it. The one charm about marriage is that it makes a life of deception absolutely necessary for both parties. There are only two kinds of people who are really fascinating: people who know absolutely everything, and people who know absolutely nothing. Beauty has as many meanings as man has moods. Beauty is the symbol of symbols. Beauty reveals everything, because it expresses nothing. When it shows us itself, it shows us the whole fairy-colored world. London is too full of fogs and serious people. Whether the fogs produce the serious people, or whether the serious people produce the fogs, I don't know. You will always be fond of me. I represent to you all the sins you have never had the courage to commit.